All right, let's dive in. We're going to talk about a symbol you've definitely seen. It started with a blockbuster movie, but somehow it ended up becoming one of the most powerful icons of protest all over the world. How does that even happen? Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. Chilling, right? I mean, that line just drops you right into the world of V for Vendetta. It grounds the whole story in this really specific piece of English history. But what's incredible is how the symbol it sparked has just exploded way beyond those original roots. Yeah, because this goes so far beyond just a movie. It's really all about this mask. You know the one, that smiling, stylized face of Guy Fawkes. I mean, you've seen it everywhere, right? From hacker groups online to massive street protests. It's this wild story of a piece of Hollywood fiction that literally jumped off the screen and into the real world. So, that's the big question we're tackling today. How on earth did a 400-year-old story about a failed plot to blow up Parliament become the face of modern rebellion? It's a heck of a journey. To really get it, we've got to peel back the layers, one by one. And the best place to start, the movie itself. Okay, so let's start with a movie that put this mask on the map, the 2005 film from the Wachowskis. So the movie drops us into this really bleak, near-future Britain that's run by this fascist party called Norsefire. And it's a classic setup, right? You've got V on one side, this mysterious, super eloquent anarchist freedom fighter, and on the other, you have this brutal totalitarian government that keeps everyone in line using fear and a total grip on the media. It has some serious 1984 vibes for sure. But look, the power of this film isn't just about the plot. It's about how it feels, how it looks. The filmmakers were super intentional about using a very specific visual language to tell this story. You can see this incredible contrast they set up. On one hand, you have Norsefire's London. Everything is gray, washed out, sterile. The buildings are huge and oppressive. But then you cut to V's secret underground lair, the Shadow Gallery, and it's the complete opposite. It's bursting with warm colors, filled with all this beautiful art and music that the government has outlawed. It's literally a visual battle between freedom and control, right there on the screen. And the symbolism doesn't stop there. Oh no. The movie is just packed with it. You've got the scarlet Carson rose he leaves behind, a symbol of love and revolution. You've got that incredible domino chain, which just perfectly foreshadows the government's collapse. And of course, the letter V is everywhere. It was his cell number, it stands for Vendetta, and ultimately for victory. These aren't just little Easter eggs. They are the story. All right, so we've got a handle on the movie, but what about the mask itself? Where did that design actually come from? For that, we need to jump in the time machine and go way, way back. So let's set the scene. It's 1605 in England. This guy, Guy Fawkes, he's a Catholic radical. He and his co-conspirators came up with this plan, the Gunpowder Plot, to blow up the Houses of Parliament and take out the Protestant King James I. Well, long story short, it failed, miserably, and Fawkes was the one they caught red-handed, guarding a whole bunch of explosives in the cellar. And what's just wild is the journey this symbol has been on. For hundreds of years, Guy Fawkes was basically the ultimate villain, a traitor. People would burn dummies of him every year. But then, in the 80s, the graphic novelist Alan Moore completely flips the script and recasts him as this heroic anarchist. The movie in 2005 took that idea and blasted it out to the entire planet. And just a few years later, groups like Anonymous picked it up, and suddenly this historical loser becomes this global symbol of resistance. What a turnaround. Okay, so we've covered the movie and the history. But what's the glue that holds it all together? What gives it so much power? Well, that's where we get into the big ideas, the philosophy behind the mask. This one line, people shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people. I mean, that's it right there. That's the whole thesis of the movie. It just completely turns the normal power dynamic on its head. And you can see why that message would really, really resonate with anyone, anywhere, who's challenging authority. The movie also throws around the word anarchy, which, can make people think of just chaos in the streets. But the film is actually really careful to define it in a specific way, not as disorder, but as leaderlessness. The idea isn't to burn everything down. It's about creating a society based on voluntary cooperation, without a government controlling everything. And it really digs into these huge themes, like how governments use fear to stay in power, the incredible power of media and propaganda. But at its heart, it's about the individual standing up to the system. And it makes this powerful point that the personal is political. V's own quest for revenge ends up igniting a massive public revolution. It shows how one person's fight can become everyone's fight. So, this all leads us to the final piece of the puzzle. And honestly, it might be the most amazing part of the whole story. How this symbol from a movie actually broke free and became real. But you might be thinking, come on, can a movie symbol really change the world? I mean, it's just a piece of plastic from a Hollywood blockbuster, isn't it? Well, let's take a look. Almost immediately, the mask became the public face of the hacker group Anonymous. Then you saw it everywhere during the Occupy Wall Street movement, protesting economic inequality all over the globe. It popped up in Turkey during the Gezi Park protests, basically in anti-government demonstrations everywhere. This thing went truly global. So why this mask? What's the secret sauce? Well, it gives protesters two things, kind of like superpowers. First, it gives them anonymity, which is crucial when you're up against a state that's watching everything. And second, it creates this instant, powerful shared identity. When everyone in a crowd is wearing the same face, they stop being a bunch of individuals. They become one unified idea. They become a movement. And that brings us right back to that core idea from the film. The mask isn't about the flesh and blood person underneath it. It was never really about Guy Fawkes or even about V. It's always been about the idea it stands for. And this is the whole point. This is the big takeaway. A person, they can be stopped, they can be silenced. But an idea is bulletproof. And that right there is where all its power comes from. So that leaves us with one last big question. This mask started out representing a failed religious plot. Then it became a fictional anarchist hero. And now it's a real-world symbol of protest. So what idea has it become today? And what idea will it be tomorrow? Well, that's probably up to the next person who decides to put it on.